Modric makes Ballon d'Or history. Barcelona upgrade the Griezmann fee. Emery's under fire. The Champions League is back. And we've got a news roundup all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers and this is the Daily News. So first off, and it's that time of year where absolutely everybody continuously talks about the Ballon d'Or. But of course we're going to do that because the 30-man shortlist was released yesterday and Nikola Modric made the kind of history that no player would ever want to make. He has become the first player to win the Ballon d'Or and then not make the shortlist the following year. Of course, the regular favourites are there though. Lionel Messi is there, Cristiano Ronaldo, Virgil van Dijk is actually one of 7 Liverpool players, there's 5 Manchester City players, but there was no room for the likes of Luis Suarez or Jan Oblak, which I find a little bit odd. As for who's going to win, well, I've said it so many times, there's just so many different angles to take on this. If you're going purely on trophies, surely it's going to be a Manchester City player who won a title in the summer as well with their international team. So Gabriel Jesus and Fernandinho aren't on the 30-man shortlist, so of course aren't going to win it, but they've got all 3 domestic titles with Manchester City, and then they won the Copa America with Brazil in the summer. The same thing can be said for Bernardo Silva. Again, 3 domestic titles with Manchester City, played fantastically well throughout the course of the year, and then won the UEFA Nations League with Portugal. If you're one of these people that doesn't really value the domestic trophies too much and you think the Champions League is more important, which I can kind of understand your case, then maybe a Liverpool player can win it. Alisson was also part of that Brazil squad that won the Copa America and, of course, the Champions League, the same as Roberto Firmino. Of course, that means that they only have 2 trophies, so if you're comparing it on a trophy level, they just can't win, and it's got to be one of those Manchester City players. Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, is still up there, despite the fact he only won Serie A and the UEFA Nations League, but if you take away all the trophies and go just for individual performance, for me, it's between Lionel Messi, Virgil van Dijk and Sadio Mane. He has been unbelievable for Liverpool in the last year and much overlooked because of the goal-scoring exploits of Mo Salah. But I think consistency-wise, Mane has been absolutely unbelievable, pulling Liverpool out of sticky situations when they really needed it the most, and he's continued that form into the new campaign. As for Virgil van Dijk, definitely the best player in the world, and Lionel Messi has continued to post the ridiculous scores that he always does and has been the best footballer on the planet again. Now, I know a load of you are going to come attacking me, especially the ones who love Ronaldo. Don't get me wrong, Ronaldo's also fantastic. Between Messi and Ronaldo, I don't really have a preference. I kind of fall in and out of love with them as the changing of the tide. I think they're both fantastic. But in the last year, Ronaldo scored 28 goals overall. That is his lowest scoring in a decade. And I know he's a great player all round, but that is his main attribute, is the fact that he scores shed loads of goals. Since leaving Real Madrid, he didn't really do that last season. Lionel Messi, on the other hand, scored 51. It's not his best, but it's definitely not his worst. So it's right up there with one of the most ridiculous tallies, even if you're not Lionel Messi. So he's definitely been better than Ronaldo this year, and alongside Virgil van Dijk and Sadio Mane, I think all 3 of them are deserving of the award. We will find that out, of course, in Paris on the 2nd of December. But moving away from all that nonsense, which actually doesn't have any impact on team football, and to Barcelona, who have agreed to pay Atletico Madrid another 15 million euros in the Antoine Griezmann debacle. Now, over the summer, you'll remember that Griezmann obviously did move from Atleti to Barcelona, but Madrid weren't too happy about it. They think that the agreement was put in place before July came around, which would have meant that Barcelona actually owed the release clause of around 200 million euros instead of the 120 million that they paid. Because Atletico Madrid wants to take Barcelona to court, obviously something had to be done. Atletico Madrid weren't promised any of the 80 million by going to court because the ruling could go against them. So they decided to take the 50 million from Barcelona. Plus, the fact that Barca now somehow worked into the deal that they have the first option to buy the likes of Saul, Koke, Jimenez and a few other Atletico Madrid players. For those of you who don't quite understand, it basically means if another team come in with, let's say, 60 million for Saul, Atletico Madrid have to go and tell Barcelona that another team has come with 60 million and they can have him for exactly the same price. I'm not quite sure why this is all happening, and behind the scenes it's going to get very, very confusing, but it always seems to be when Barcelona are involved. Moving on though, and to the Premier League, where last night a shock victory for Sheffield United saw Unai Emery under further pressure. Now, I know a load of Arsenal fans are going to have an opinion, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, but I can't really see what he's doing wrong at the moment. Of course, there's a lack of leadership in the squad, but the club as a whole, including the chairman, should have addressed that in the summer by bringing in a strong-minded new player and maybe not giving the captaincy to Granit Xhaka. That, of course, was Emery's decision. But apart from that, he is playing the players in their right position. Nikola Pepe was up top alongside Aubameyang. Lacazette came back from injury and came on, but they just didn't do the business. Pepe had a golden chance to score just before Sheffield United took the lead, and he didn't take it. Is he a flop? Absolutely not. He didn't ask for that price to be paid for him. I still think he's a fantastic player. He was one of Arsenal's brightest sparks despite that miss, and I'm pretty sure he will come good in time. He is still only just 23 years old. But moving on from that story, during which we should definitely give massive credit to Sheffield United and Chris Wilder for a brilliant victory, and it's on to the Champions League. Of course it is. The Champions League is back, and there are a whole host of games for us to feast our eyes on. Zinedine Zidane said he wants to stay at Real Madrid forever and is refusing to discuss any pressure on him as his side prepare to face Galatasaray. After just 1 point in the first 2 games, this is kind of a must-win game for him in the Champions League, the competition which of course he won 3 times in a row. As for Spurs, well, Mauricio Pochettino is also facing a lot of pressure and be hoping to lift some of that with a victory at home to Red Star Belgrade. Cristiano Ronaldo has said that Sarri ball is actually really working and he loves the attacking play that the new manager's brought into Juventus and all the confidence that it brings. He'll be hoping to score a hatful of goals as Juventus hosts Lokomotiv Moscow, and there could also be a bit of a riot as Manchester City welcome back Kyle Walker and Nicolas Otamendi to their squad as they take on winless Atalanta. So next up to the daily roundup of the rest of the news, and Alfredo Morelos, the Rangers striker, is apparently a £20 million target for Crystal Palace. If Real Madrid want to sign Christian Eriksen, they're prepared to offer Mariano Diaz or Isco in return to Tottenham. Wayne Rooney has been told he needs to go through a full pre-season before he returns to Derby and January, and the reason why Neymar isn't on the Ballon d'Or list, according to the Ballon d'Or deciders themselves, is because he's had a year full of injury on the field and controversy off the field. So there you have it, there's all of today's daily news. Let me know your favourite for the Ballon d'Or and your thoughts on tonight's Champions League action. Whilst you're down in the comment section, you can also smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.